Hello from the Beanbag and welcome back to another Daily Encouragement with Naomi. Thanks for joining me. Good to have you here. In today's video, I'm going to share a little bit more about my journey and just a recent story testimony of just where things are kind of at for me in walking in and living out real godly inner beauty and, discovering who my true identity in God is and what that looks like for me on a practical level. So let's go on a wee journey and let me tell you a story. So my story starts around this time last year. I do believe it might be about a year since I set up my channel. And what kind of led to the channel being set up was that I had left a job where I was a live-in nanny, so had moved to a new house because obviously, I lived in the house where I worked, and if I wasn't working there, I had to move out of the house. So I moved to a new place. Once I was settled in the new house, I started kind of exploring, looking for a new job and stuff like that. I thought I was going back into nannying. This time I was like, right, I'll look for a live-out position. I just go and look in after the kids, and then my home is my home. It's not where I work as well. And so, did start looking at some jobs. And I remember one night I was in my room not sleeping, because often when I move into a new place or if I'm in a new environment, I don't sleep. It was the middle of the night one night, and I was just sitting there, and I had all these thoughts running through my head, because a few weeks before this, I had kind of started writing down some thoughts around real inner beauty and the kind of culture we'll grow up in, and how that affects us and what that boxes us into. And so this night I had all these thoughts, and I had this thought to record myself, and I was like, oh no, because like most of us, I do not like the camera, and I do not like the way I sound on camera. And I was like, but there must be a reason why I'm recording it. And in that kind of conversation, I guess, with God, I was like, if I'm recording it, got to make me sound good, or sound better than I do, because I don't want to listen to myself. Why would anyone else want to listen to me? And so I did, recorded it, listened to myself, and I went, oh, I guess I sound all right. Still did cringe a wee bit at how I sounded, but I sounded a lot better than what I usually would on camera. So during that night, I don't know whether it was after I recorded or during or whatever, but I felt God saying, set up a YouTube channel. And I was just like, are you serious? What on earth are you talking about? Because I have so many, number one, hate being on camera. So I was like, no. And then, didn't want to be heard on camera, and essentially don't want to be out there and putting stuff out there that, in a lot of ways, even in Christian circles and stuff, is quite controversial. So I was like, oh, no. But I was obedient, and I did. I watched YouTube videos on how to set up a YouTube channel. I went through that whole process and set it up. A year later, yes, it's still a little channel, but in that year, my journey to this whole godly inner beauty and my identity in Him has, it's gone from way over here to all the way over here. Like, just the things that have happened, the healing, the awareness, the revelation that has happened in this year while I've been on this journey is just amazing. I look back occasionally on videos and I go, oh, where did that come from? I'll talk about something and I'll be like, oh, okay, right. Didn't realize that, that's where I sat on that topic, or that's the depth of kind of revelation or whatever I had on that topic, and all these kind of things, because I do not profess to be in any way, shape or form a professional speaker or even any good at speaking. But I believe God has put something on my heart that needs to be shared, and that in that sharing that is part of my journey to healing and wholeness and freedom in Him and godly inner beauty and my identity in Him, who I am in Him. As I've shared before, that my childhood and even adulthood is quite full of different types of trauma. And so it's kind of, I think, in a way, a space where I can open up and talk about it and put it out there to others, so that hopefully others will be able to open up and talk about it to someone and to get healing in whatever area that they need healing in. I don't know what I expected from the channel. Maybe I expected it to make me money or something like that. Not the right attitude. And so I've had to really kind of look at that lately as well and just reassess that. But this whole journey of identity has just been, wow, just amazing. Because as a nanny, I guess just because of who I am and my personality and everything, I'm potentially not like a lot of other nannies. Like, I'm quite fun. I love the job. I know there's a lot of other nannies that do, but literally love my job when I'm working as a nanny, because I adore kids and their just amazing imaginations. I kind of dabble a wee bit in writing stories, and one of my first stories that I've written and is kind of at this point of completion where it's ready to be published was inspired by a child at a preschool in Ashburton where I worked. I just love it, and I tend to be in a lot of ways quite childlike, so I think that's why I really enjoy hanging out with kids so much and looking after them. It was kind of a wee bit of a shock. And I think for a season that door was closed and we've moved into another area. As 2023 kind of rolled on, found myself in a situation where I needed some help from a couple in my church with something that was kind of going on in my life personally, and so I needed some outside help with that, and out of that has come me starting my journey with them of inner healing. And so I've been working through kind of different things, and then a couple of weeks ago an ad popped up on Facebook, I do believe, for a free Christian music boot camp, and so I signed up for it, and I was like, that's interesting that you've signed up for that, because as I said, I've written children's stories and potentially songs. I don't know if I've got any completed songs, but there's definitely lyrics floating around on different apps on my devices and on paper, because I wrote them years ago. So I was like, let's explore this and see kind of what comes out of it. I think it was 5 days of 2 hours each day, because I joined the VIP sessions of Zoom calls. So in terms of time, it wasn't a huge amount of time, because it wasn't like a 6-hour course each day, but for me it was a big chunk of my day, because my day consists of recording a few videos a day and then editing on the days I don't record, and so editing takes quite a while. So it was a time commitment, it was a sacrifice, but it was really good stuff. I think one of the biggest takeaways from it all is I have come to realize that I'm a highly creative, artistic person, because I write songs, stories, made jewellery for years and years. In fact, everything I have on today I have made. I'm just quite different to a lot of others that I hang out with and that I kind of see around the place and all that kind of stuff. And previously, that would have been a real tension for me, the whole thing of being different, because I didn't want to be like anyone else, because I knew God had made me be different and unique. But the tension of not sticking out too much because of my background and the trauma and stuff, I kind of wanted to at times be a wallflower. But I don't present myself in a quiet and wallflowery type way. I'm quite out there, quite bold, quite in your face. So there has been this tension, and it was really, really good in the boot camp, because the guy that ran it, that was one of the first things he spoke about was your identity as an artist, whether you're a songwriter, whatever kind of artist you are. It wasn't only specific to songwriting or worship leading or anything like that. Whatever kind of artist you are, what does that actually look like for you? If you're if you're loud and bright and all that kind of stuff, to embrace that and be that in whatever area of art you dabble in or are in, rather than trying to be someone completely different. And we've talked about that quite a bit on recent videos, is being who you are, being 100% authentic, and being who God created you to be, because he didn't create you to be someone else. He didn't create you to mimic others. He created you just the way he wanted you, so that you could be the original he made you to be. Over the last few weeks, because it's been a few weeks since boot camp, kind of walking through that and looking at that and going, who am I? What part of the creative side of me do I need to embrace and grab hold of and run with? And what parts do I need to actually let go and drop off because they're not of God? And that is not who God's created me to be. Brad, the guy that runs the course, talked about, pick your lane and stay in your lane. And such good advice, because some of us, we're all over the show trying to be involved in everything. Potentially half of what we're involved in is not actually what God has called us to be involved in. It is not actually who God has called us to be. And there is no, I guess if you want to say, authority or blessing or mantle or anything like that, to be involved in those things and be doing those things, because that's not what God has planned for your life. And so I think we often get so caught up in everything and anything and caught up being so busy because we don't actually know who we are. And yes, there are things that we have to do in life, like, for example, some of us are in jobs that are really not the right fit for us, but for some reason that is where God has got us in this season, and that is where He needs us right now. After the boot camp, there was an opportunity to join Kingdom Music Academy, which I have done. Yesterday I was watching some of the training, all this amazing training about how to, write and produce and all that kind of stuff that I have no idea about, because I'm very new to this whole songwriting stuff. But, and the training stuff I was watching yesterday was around, identity and around picking your lane, staying in your lane. Some of us can cross over and we can go like that in our lanes, but it's really helpful, I think, especially for me as a creative person, to have in some way some defined lanes and know where we are potentially going in that lane. So, for example, if my lane is songwriting, who am I writing the songs for, and what is my audience and all that kind of stuff, rather than being really broad and going, I just write for everybody and anybody can listen to my song and access it and all that kind of stuff. But in songwriting and story writing, you need to know your audience, and you need to know, when you're writing, who you're writing for. Otherwise, I think things can get muddled and lost if it's not clear in your head who you're writing for, or who you're producing, painting for, who you're making a blanket for, whatever you're doing. I think sometimes it's very helpful to know who it's for and what lane you're in. And, God can change your lane. He can have you go like this with your lane because He's God, and He can give you anointing and authority to move from lane to lane and to at times move into a totally different track, so to speak, if we're using the running track as an example. He might have you on this track where this kind of running happens and all this kind of stuff, and then He takes you and He moves you to a track on the other side of the world. And in a lot of ways, that's what He has done with my life over the last year, because I was going to hang out with somebody's children, look after them, to just really invest in a family and bless a family. That's what I was planning on doing. And who knows, that may happen again, but just for right now, in this season, we're really concentrating and looking at and exploring my giftings in God. I have the amazing opportunity where I can explore writing songs and writing stories and running a channel, all that kind of stuff. Whereas if you'd asked me 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, if I thought I was creative in any way, I would have told you no. I would have flat out told you no. Even though at the time I did make jewellery, and 15 or so years ago, sold a little bit of it and stuff. So from that aspect, I thought, oh yeah, maybe I'm a little bit creative. I think for me, because I kind of just maybe dabbled in a few different areas, I was like, oh yeah, maybe a little. But this thing over here and this thing over here would always kind of cloud and in a way snuff out that thinking of God has created me to be creative. All of us do have some creativity in us and creative ability, because we're created in the image of God, and He is an amazingly creative God. And so should have kind of gathered that I would have some creative ability. But I think because I grew up in a family where my dad could draw reasonably well, he could sing, both my brother and sister played musical instruments and sung, and my mum could sing. So I was the kid who had no musical ability whatsoever. So I went, oh, no, I'm not creative. I'm not artistic. I'm not an artist in any form or any way, because I can't do this. For majority of my life, I actually believed that. And it wasn't until I moved out of Invercargill and God healed some stuff in my life that I began to realise that I was creative. I was an artist, and that I had some sort of creative ability. And it's just amazing how this year it's just been really highlighted, and been what I've been working on this year and what I've kind of been investing my time into, to just really seek God in those places and to go, well, God, what are you saying in this area? What are you talking to me about around my identity and around who I am and around who you've made me to be? And what does that look like? What do I need to throw off? What do I need to get rid of so that I am living a life where I am living as who God created me to be? Now, I don't know where this journey is going to take me. I don't know what's happening, so much to the point that every day when I get up, I do not know what my video is about. I don't even know what my shorts are going to be on that day until God just pops the scripture into my head, or says, this is what your video is going to be about. And it's just so much fun. It's such a faith journey, because I'm like, I am not a super organized person anyway. I genuinely am a fly by the seat of your pants kind of person. But, sometimes it would be really good to know a few days in advance what my videos are, so that I could just batch record. But I think for me and God, the way our relationship is that it's a daily asking him and a daily trusting him that I'm hearing his voice right, and it is him talking to me. So that's a little bit about kind of where we're at the moment in my journey on the road to godly inner beauty, and to knowing who I am in God and what my true identity is. And I genuinely am excited to just explore this more and just go, who am I? Who has God created Naomi to be? And just finding new things and new like little nuggets of, that's a gift God's given me, and this is what he wants me to do with it, and this is how it's working itself in my life. It just constantly amazes me, because as I've shared before, for many, many years, I believed God would not use me. I believed God would never use me, that I was never good enough for God to use. I seriously thought I was that far gone. I was that far out of God's reach. Even though I had a relationship with him, I thought, he will never ever use me. He's got plenty of other people he can use. So many other people that can do whatever he needs them to do. Never realizing that God has a special plan and purpose for my life, so that I can do what he needs me to do in this world, and what he requires of me in my life. Because when I give my life to him, I become not only his daughter and a co-heir with Christ, but I become his hands and feet on this earth. I become his servant, in the sense of my job, my role is to serve him in what he's doing. I have a specific part to play in that big picture of what God's doing in the world right now. He's just opening up some amazing opportunities, particularly right now for me in the era of prayer, which I still sit there and go, sure, there's not someone more qualified, because prayer is not one of my strong points. So it's quite cool how he's using that to grow my prayer life and to strengthen me in my prayer life, and in praying for others and seeking his face for others. And I'll share a bit more about that one day, because there's a specific group of people that he's called me to kind of pray and intercede for, and I still go, qualified. And I know none of us were qualified when he called us, and that's the cool thing about it, is that he uses the unqualified. He uses those that the world would look at and go, who are you? What are you? You're nothing. You're no one. But God says, you're my child. You're my daughter. You're my son. And this is the plan and purpose I have for you. This is what I've called you to do. And I think as we walk closer with him and get to know more and more who we are in him, he will just bring things out that we sit there and go, oh, what's that? That's a bit exciting. What are you calling me into there? And where are we going here? What's the plan for my life in this area? And it's just so much fun, because he just constantly surprises me and amazes me, because I sit and go, are you sure? So I know I shouldn't, but I still go, are you sure? Are you sure this is the right person to be doing that? No, meaning me. He goes, yeah, absolutely. And I go, okay, I trust you. Let's go. So my encouragement to you today is take some time to just look back and reflect over the last year or 2 years, and just look and see where God is working, where he's been working, where he's just maybe calling you into new things and calling you deeper into who you are in him. I know you'll be amazed at his fingerprints all over your life, and his hand just on you constantly, because he's always at work. He's always up to something good. Always up to something good. He's a good father who wants to bless you and wants to just see you walk in the freedom of who he created you to be, and not in bondage or in chains to who other people think you should be. If you are a quiet introvert, be a quiet introvert. Don't try and be a loud extrovert because that's what others expect or that's what you think will get you liked more. No, be who God created you to be. There is immense freedom in that. That freedom is desperately needed in this world today, because the more free we are, the more we are going to be able to walk hand in hand with God into situations He's calling us into, particularly with the lost and with those who don't know Him, because the freer we are, the more we know the truth of who we are in God, so therefore can help others find that truth in God and who they are in God. But if we are just so bogged down and so pressed and depressed by the chains and everything that we carry, we are going to find it harder to completely trust God and to follow Him and to allow Him to take us into those places that may be new and different and completely out of our comfort zone. Including myself is completely out of my comfort zone. You know, I look through my photos on my phone. There are barely any selfies of me. The only ones that I really actually have are ones I take for thumbnails. Other than that, there's a handful on my camera roll. There are no videos of me unless I'm recording a video in the last year. All that, none. I'd record videos and not even talk on them if I'm recording like the kids I was looking after or something, but I wouldn't talk on them. That's how much I didn't want to be heard. If someone else would watch the video, they'd be like, they might be like, oh my goodness. So, you know, I wouldn't talk on videos. And now here we are, regularly recording videos and putting them on the internet where people can watch them. So far out of my comfort zone, it's crazy. God has just done such an amazing work in my life, and I know that He is doing amazing work in other people's lives around this world right now. And it is just so cool to see others getting free and others knowing who they are and just embracing who they are in God and walking in that freedom of who they are and who God created them to be. I think that's enough for me talking for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with a video on who knows what. We'll wait and see what God says. Love you all. Bye.